to talk to you about the forehand and the technical aspects of the swing. So there's a lot of different ways that you could teach a student a forehand. And I'm just going to go over some basic things that I've learned over the years from many different high-level professionals that these techniques usually will yield some really good results and very fast. So the first idea of the forehand is basically from the start position or the beginning of the swing. And so one of the things that you want to do is you want to make sure you check the student's grip. Usually when a player grabs the racket for the first time, they'll usually shake hands with the racket and typically will be in a Eastern forehand grip. Now, a lot of them will grip a little bit underneath the racket and will put into a semi-Western. So you'll have to decide with your player what grip is very comfortable for them and what they like. So once they have the grip, then you're in the ready position. Shoulders, shoulder width as far as your feet, a little bit more than shoulder width. And I always tell my students to drop their hips instead of bend their knees. If they drop their hips, they'll bend their knees automatically. The second thing is, what does the left hand do? Left hand, typically they can start, if they have a two-handed backhand, they could start here at the bottom. Or I like to do is start them at the throat of the racket. So if they turn into their backhand, they can simply slide their hand as they turn. So I like the hand here because here's the beginning of the forehand. So here's the way I teach it. I teach a lot of students this way, and we'll go into some other ideas as well. So left hand on the throat. What I have them do is I have them slide their left hand up to the side of the rim of the racket, and then I'll have them tip the racket up to the sky. So this being the point of the racket or the tip of the racket. So we'll go slide, tip, and then simply from here we'll just do the unit turn here like that. So the biggest thing with turning is if they pivot their feet, their hips will turn. Okay, so that's really important to note. What are they doing with their feet? Okay, are they keeping their feet forward as they turn, their toes forward, or are they actually pivoting on their feet as they turn? So again, starting off in the ready position, left hand on the throat, you're going to slide, you're going to tip, and this puts the hand in this position here, the wrist in that, and you kind of lock in that position there. So once they turn, so it's slide, tip, and turn, now they have the racket off into that general area there. So I like to have them have the tip where still up, so that I tell the younger players too, you need to be able to look through the string pattern there. Okay. A lot of students, sometimes they'll get a little wiggly and point the tip at the face of the net. Don't necessarily like to see that. Or I don't want to see them tipping the racket back toward the fence, okay? This is a really good start position because from here, what they can do is once they slide, tip, and turn, then from here, as they separate their hands, the racket stays on this plane, and then they can just drop it in the slot and then contact and finish. So what I like to do with a player is first focus on the beginning of the stroke. So I really want them to begin the stroke really well. So I go slide, tip, and turn, and then I'll just feed them a few balls and I'll say, when you're ready, separate your hands and then swing through, okay? Once we get that, maybe go through 10 or 12, 15 balls where it's really good technique, where they're actually sliding, tipping, and turning. I want to see that beginning part of the stroke. Then I'll talk to them about the finishing part of the swing. And the finishing part, okay, I want them to, I have them tip, slide, tip, and turn, and I have them hit a ball, and I have them just stop where they finish. And then what I do is I want to get them to be, their stance to be more in an open stance position, okay? And I'll talk about the end cap of the racket being like their flashlight, and I want them to point their flashlight at the side fence, okay? And with the left hand, I would like for them to catch the racket up near the throat, if that's possible, okay? So as they finish, they're going to get in an open stance position, point the flashlight at the side fence and catch. And if they're too upright like this, I just tell them to drop their hips. And so I kind of call this a relaxed side lunge. So when I say side lunge, a lot of my kids they'll actually go like this. So I tell them, well, I don't want you to lean on the side lunge. I just want you to drop the hips on the side lunge so that your weight is even between your feet there. So you're going to finish in this position. So I have them hold the finish, and I like to see how they finish. So the two aspects of the swing when I'm first teaching the forehand swing is how do they begin the swing and how do they finish, okay? Because typically we can begin to talk about what's happening in between that as I begin to see them begin well and then finish well. Because typically what happens is if they slide, tip, and turn, as they finish, the racket comes through and into a good finish position. And typically the ball begins to shape and go into the court. So from there, then we branch off into other areas of contact point and things like that. But try to keep it simple in the beginning when you're teaching the forehand stroke. Focus on the beginning of the swing, how the player begins the swing, and also how the player finishes the swing. And that should help you get started off on the right track.